Welcome to the Property Profits Podcast. How the hell are y'all today? Great to be on here with you. And as normal, I'm going to drop some bombs for you today. Let's talk about building a rental portfolio, what it really looks like, the sexy and non-sexy side of it. I bought a lot of houses and a lot of real estate over my time, and I've done a lot of BRRRR real estate investing. When you buy, you rehab, you rent it out, you refinance it, and you repeat. That's the whole BRRRR. I had to think about BRRRR for a minute. But anyway, that's the whole model. I've done a lot of those. I like them in a really great interest rate environment. Not too happy about them now. I know still people crush it. They do really well at it, whatever. But it's, hey, I just bought this. I just bought this. It's really easy to get excited. Really easy. But I want to break down what actually goes into building a rental portfolio. Let's start with property. And I'm going to tell you what I did and what I would have done. Just so maybe if you're early on, middle on, whatever, you think of it, look through this lens. Don't take my word for it, ask other people. But, just from my personal experience, I don't know everything, but I've done a lot of real estate. So if you're going to buy a house, be super selective. Make sure it's an appreciating area. Appreciating, meaning like the value is going to go up. Do your research. Make sure, how do you do research? See if it's appreciating. Look at houses in the neighborhood, go back 5 years, see what they're worth now. Go back 10 years, see what they're worth. Do it that way. Make sure it's appreciating. I used to buy stuff everywhere, didn't care, super rural, didn't matter. If I get cash flow, I'd buy it. I would have only bought appreciating stuff. You don't want to waste your time. You want to get double whammies. What I mean is you want to get appreciating and cash flow, and you can do that. It's out there. It's frustrating to a lot of people because they have to do so much searching, so much soul searching, right, to get these good deals. But that's how you learn. All right. So make sure it's an appreciating area. Make sure you know your strategy. If you're gonna hold it, try to get a 2% deal. If it's some badass A-class property, I'll condone 1%. This is a wealth building tool. It's going to appreciate a lot. It's in class A area, like it's badass. You're going to have a great tenant. 1% is going to break you even. But if you got cash and you don't need to, like, you have a badass job, you have badass, and you have stuff like that, and you're in a position to where you can float that boat and you feel comfortable with that, more than cool. I'm a 2% guy. I like to get my bang for my buck, but that doesn't mean it's like necessarily always the right thing. Like affordable housing, I used to buy houses for 50,000, 40,000, put 10, 20, 30 into them, get $1,300, $1,400 a month in rent. 2%. Really, I'd make $500 a month in cash flow, which is if something didn't break. A lot of these houses were older and they needed more maintenance. So if you break down the whole year, really only making, if it's profitable, like $100 a month. And if not, negative. I've done really well with some of them and not so with others. That's why I'm saying, like, you're not going to get rich right off the bat on trying to cash flow these single family rents. I want you to go ahead and put in your head that I might lose money some months. I'd only end up with $100 in cash flow, $200 in cash flow. Unless you get super creative and you rent by the door and all this other stuff, cool. But this is like a wealth building tool. You have a lot of houses and they appreciate over a lot of years, and you raise rents, you keep them maintained, and over time you start making more and more money. They get closer to closer to getting paid off, or you cash out, refi them. I've got a mentor, dude, leverage the hell out of those, pull the cash out, make sure it's the right debt, buy more, and this is how you protect your wealth. I tend to take that approach and agree with him, but everybody's different. There's not one size fits all. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Now, instead of buying a lot of single families, you want to really increase your cash flow more after you buy that first single family. It's appreciating, it's got good rent, it's taking care of itself. Instead of buying another one just like it, maybe buy a duplex in an appreciating area that meets a good cash flow rule and that you like. And then, hey, get that stabilized and then go buy a fourplex. You see where I'm going with this? You're going to just keep doubling up. After you get all that going, you buy an eightplex. And what you're doing here too is you're building the skills you need to be the type of person that owns a lot of rentals. It's able to manage a lot of doors. You build these skills through these actions. Now, go to this situation where you're just buying this house, then you're just buying this single family house, then you're just buying this single family house. You're not necessarily gaining the skills to manage a ton more doors. So I would say keep doubling up. But I want you to be realistic with your expenses Add these vacancy factors, add a 5% vacancy factor, 10% vacancy factor. 10, if you do that, you're not, hopefully you don't have 10% vacancy. Add that in. Expense factor, 5 to 10%. Realtor fees and commissions, if you're using a realtor, add these costs and really look at it for a moment and don't look at this with rose-colored glasses. You want to build a rental portfolio. What do you want it to look like? Do you want it to be houses? Do you want it to be like small apartment buildings, big apartment buildings? Do you want it to be like what kind of houses? Or maybe it's mobile home parks or RV parks, but know what you want, why it excites you, and what the end game is instead of just jumping in because I got this deal, right? Because you can always make money on that deal, but do you want to hold that deal? Is the juice worth the squeeze on that deal, or could you sell it and invest it in something else and do better? But I just wanted to bring this to y'all's attention because real estate is sexy. People are always talking about it. They're talking about, I did this, I did that, but debt adds up and you need good debt and you need cash flow for these things. So let's assume you make 100 at the door. Let's just assume that. How many doors would you need to make $10,000 a month off your rentals? Let's call it $100 a door. Let's say you got 10 doors. That's $1,000. How many doors you need? You need 100 doors that make $100 a month. Obviously, some do better, some do worse, but let's just do an average. So if you're doing this double up strategy, I think you get there faster. When fast isn't the super goal, but you do it smart, faster, appreciating areas, all this good stuff. And I think you crush it that way. But sometimes opportunities arise and you pick them up as rentals. I like to get 0% deals and I take them down. And I'm going against what I'm telling you here because I would normally say, I'll just keep doubling up because I like the multifamily stuff. But it's really hard for me to pass up a 0% interest, no money down deal. And I'll get somebody to pay me to enter in on it. Because when 5 years, I've got a house. If it's a low price house, it's almost paid off or half paid off or whatever. That's how I'm building my stuff up. But everybody's different. There's not one way. So if anybody tells you, oh, this is how you do it or this is how you do it, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't buy into that. I think you should think what's good for you, what's good for your family, what's good for your future, what lights you up, what makes you excited. So I hope you got a lot out of this one. And if you did, great. Leave me an honest review. And also, if you need to get a hold of me, DM me on Facebook. But these reviews on this show really help us to boost the algorithm to reach more people organically. We're not running paid ads. We're not doing anything like that. I'm just dropping value to help. So anyways, I can't wait to see you on the next one and y'all keep crushing it.